Good evening. I call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. I will start with a roll call. Mr. Lapoyo.
Welcome.
Ms. Adair.
Present, good evening.
Mr. Flores.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Mr. Sallier.
Thank you for coming.
Ms. Williams.
Present, thank you for being here.
Mr. Salinas, I'm the board president, and thank you very much for being here this evening. Dr. Mackey.
Good evening. And we have Ms. Elizondo, Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Nancy Robinson, Social Superintendent, Ms. Berra, and Mr. Linscomb, our PIO Director.
Thank you. I am very pleased that you have taken time to join us this evening. As the Judson Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals and policies and oversee the management of the district. We are responsible for approving budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to listen to reports from the superintendent. We are not here to make administrative or management decisions pertaining to the daily operation of the district. This is the responsibility of the superintendent. In compliance with state government code on open meetings, tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. This is a meeting in public, not a meeting of the public. As our guests, you are welcome to observe and listen. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of Judson's permanent legal record. In order that the tape adequately reflects these proceedings, please silence your mobile phones and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that these proceedings are recorded accurately, I might have to ask for order periodically should I notice that disruptions are interfering with our recording capabilities. Once again, we extend to each of you a sincere welcome. And thank you very much for your interest in the Judson School Board meeting. We are going to continue with the invocation by Dr. Mackey, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll go into the recognitions. Please stand.
Okay, would you please stand, bow your heads. Father, once again, we thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We want to thank you for this meeting and blessing us and conducting a great meeting this evening for the kids of Judson Independent School District. But Father, we want to thank you for blessing all of our kids in Judson, providing a safe academic progress for all of our kids. But Lord, there's been some extraordinary things that's happened in this district. If you see tonight and present our scores, you see our 5th and 8th grade scores are up there at and above the state. We have our athletic department that we'll be presenting tonight. We have our boys basketball team made it to state finals. We have our girls from Wagner that made it to the semifinals in state. But Lord, our boys and girls at Judson made it to state, and our girls won the state championship. Without your blessing, it would not be possible. We want to thank you. We want to thank you for our armed services across seas and all the things that they're doing to provide us safety in this country. Thank you, Lord. And thank you, and bless all the families within our district. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I'd like to introduce to you our pledge leader for tonight. She is Anissa Sepulveda. Anissa, come on up. She is a 5th grader from Coronado Village Elementary, and she's the daughter of David Sepulveda and Michelle Sepulveda. She has been in the Judson School District since kindergarten. She has maintained honor roll in her academic studies every year, and she's missed only 4 days of school in the past 5 years. While at Coronado, she has participated in student council in the Battle of the Books competition, and she chooses to spend her free time at school reading because, as she puts it, it takes me on an adventure. Let's join Anissa in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Order, arms. Ready, aim. Forward, march. On guard, hold. Ready, up. Ready, hold. Ready, hold. Ready, up. Ready, aim. Freeze and arm. Order, arm. Ready, aim. Forward, march.
You may be seated. Let's give Anissa a hand for a nice job.
Mr. Linscomb, before we continue, I want to ask the public in the back, we have plenty of chairs in the front, towards the front, and on both sides. Please, we don't need you to be standing. Come and join us, please. Thank you. We will continue with the...
I'd like to recognize Anissa's mom. She's sitting up here in the front. I'd also like to recognize our color guard for tonight, if they haven't gotten swallowed up in the crowd there. They were coming from Wagner High School, ROTC, Cadet Captain Gracia Martinez, Cadet Captain Kentavious Patman, Cadet Sergeant First Class Zulema Martinez, and Cadet Staff Sergeant Abigail Santos. Thank you. What? All right, we've got a number of groups that we're going to be... Thank you, Anissa. We've got a number of groups that we're going to be recognizing this evening, some of which we might be able to squeeze everybody in with the board, and others are so big we may have to just take pictures of them off to the left here. But our first board recognition comes from Metzger Middle School, the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, otherwise known as FCCLA students, went to state and made a huge impact. They are not only placed against all of the students across Texas, but also qualified for the national competition. Even though the competition was very, very difficult, Jada Rhodes took first place in recycling and redesign, and the team of Amaya Harris, Megan Smalley, and Ayana Strasser placed second in chapter service. And because they did so well, they will now go on to the national FCCLA competition scheduled right here in San Antonio in July. Their instructor is Becky Octor. Congratulations also to the parents. Let's give them a hand. All right, our next recognition comes from Kitty Hawk Middle School. Congratulations to the Kitty Hawk Skills USA team for placing first as the opening and closing team. They encountered some great competition there as well, but in the end came out in first place in the exploratory category. The top placing team was made up of Micaela D'Antoni, Elaine Lovelace, Rosie Caballero, Wyatt Fye, Austin Crook, Ian Maloney, and Johnny Friedrich. Now the team of Austin Crook and Anthony Yancey also took first place with their barbecue pit construction. Now placing third in construction tool ID competition was Johnny Friedrich. And some of the same students also brought some quality construction projects as well, including 2 tables and a fire pit. Now, we also have a late addition with this as well from Miss Rumfield's Skills USA class, also from Kitty Hawk. They had some first place finishers. These students made pen and pencil sets. Alex Quinones, Justin Hinkle, Willis Sipes, and Christian Caudillo all took first place. And in the leadership category, the Emblem Team Exploratory took first place, and Ray Vega is here as well. I think he was included in the group here. And the instructor, Mr. Julian Acevedo. Now, will the parents also of these students please stand up so we can recognize you as well? Thank you for being here. All right. Our next recognition comes from Wagner High School. The girls varsity basketball team finished their season with a record of 25-11 and were state semifinalists, which is no small task. This was their third appearance in the state semifinals. The team is here tonight, and so I'll go through the names here, and if you'll hold your applause to the very end. First, we have 2 freshmen on the team, which gives us hope for the future, Markia Sullivan and Jada Young. Second team All-District and All-Academic team member, Desiree Johnson. Also second team All-District and All-Academic team member, Kiana Clark. All-Academic team member, Patricia Patterson. District 25 5A Newcomer of the Year, first team All-District, All-Academic member Kiana Williams. She was also will also try out for the Under-17 USA basketball team in Colorado Springs. Senior Ashley Dunn, second team All-District, and senior Kaylin Wilson, first team All-District, and she has signed to play next year at San Jacinto College in Houston. Also, coaches are Melissa Martinez, Deshauna Brown, Rachel Truen, and head coach Andrea Camacho. And will the parents of these students please stand so you can be recognized? All right, our next recognition is also in basketball. It was a great year for basketball, that's for sure, in the Judson ISD. The Judson High School boys basketball team had the best overall record in school history at 37-2, and best overall record in Class 5A competition in Texas, making it to the state semifinals on a 35-game win streak. Let's introduce them now. Please, again, hold your applause until the end. Devin Blair, Rashawn Wynn, Tony Allen, Patrick Ramos, Keaston Mackey, Jaron White, Andre Wilson, Chad Flowers, and Kendall Hayes. Now, seniors Julian Erickson, was selected as TABC Academic All-State, and seniors Tanner Leisner, and David Wacker were selected as TABC Academic All-Staters and were chosen to the TABC All-State team. Now their coaches are Mike Freeman, Jason Draper, Victor Lopez, and head coach Mike Wacker. And will the parents of these students please stand up if you're here? Okay. And Judson High School is also establishing quite a reputation in the track and field arena. The Lady Rockets brought home its first girls state 5A track and field championship in Austin. And they didn't just win it, they blew away the closest competition, 66 points to 42. The team members are Constance James, Mariah Kuykendall, Ariel Watson, Talaja Morell, Dominique Allen, Kiana Horton, Darion Gibson, Tierney Mack, Mia Campbell, and Maya Henson. Also coaches, congratulations to Coach Gerbic, Toru, Danaher, and Corrales as well. You may have to have a separate camera for that trophy there. Now, as they're going through these the pictures, they racked up these points, ladies and gentlemen, by third place in the 4x100 relay, Constance, Mariah, Ariel, and Talaja. Fifth place in the 800-meter run, Dominique Allen. Second place in the 100-meter run was Talaja Morell. First place in the 4x200 relay was Constance, Kiana, Ariel, and Talaja, and that was a new school record. Fourth place, 400-meter run, Mariah Kuykendall. Second place, 200-meter run, Kiana Horton. And third place, 4x400 relay, Mariah, Darion, Dominique, and Kiana. And will the parents, if you're still here, if you're here tonight, please stand. You got the pictures? You're good? Thank you. Hold on. We got a few more. We've got a few more, Miss Howardson. Now, our Human Resource Director, Elaine Howard, has also some special recognition she would like to present.
Well, good evening. Y'all have to bear with me. I'm not as boisterous as I normally am. Tonight I have the privilege of acknowledging some employees in our district. We have a small sampling of folks here to share with you that are very special here at Judson, because these are individuals that started employment with us in non-certified, non-degree positions, and through their employment here, they have been able to attain their their bachelor's or master's and their teaching certificates. These individuals that we are about to recognize reflect 26 in the last year. When we went back and collected data, we've had 63 people in the last year go from para to teacher, and we are so proud that they have stayed with the Judson family. As I call your name, if you would please come up. Teresa Bytel, You'll come forward. You've got to go and walk the line. It's a tradition. Sorry. Betty Harris. Rosalind McCumber. Nope. Jeanette Moore. And I have to mention she started in human resources. Congratulations, Jeanette. And Ashley Stewart. Thank you. Congratulations. Again, these are very special employees because they've put roots down here in Judson, and we are glad that they're part of our family. Thank you.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Macias, the other board member, the secretary of the board, has joined us. Mr. Macias. At this time, we're going to be doing acknowledgement of visitors and citizens to be heard. Do we have any elected officials from? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Faulkner, right? Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, ma'am. This council lady from Kirby, city of Kirby. Acknowledgement of visitors. This time is provided for citizens to address the board on issues or concerns. A person may speak one time for a period of 3 minutes. Presentation shall be informative only. No board action will be taken. A complaint or charge against any officer or employee of the district is not allowed in open session. Complaints and concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. The presiding officer shall determine whether a person who wishes to address the board has attempted to solve a matter administratively. If not, the person shall be directed to the appropriate policy to seek resolution before bringing the matter to the board at a subsequent meeting. Citizens wishing to receive a response from concerns presented to the board must provide written documentation. The board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. The first one we have is Mr. Louis Johnson, Jr.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've decided not to address the board, but I appreciate the opportunity at this time. I decided not to address the board at this time, but I do appreciate you acknowledging me.
Thank you, sir. Richard Jordan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the gentleman just said, my name is Richard Jordan. I am Elsie Jordan's son. I started the first grade at Kirby Elementary School in 1959. The campus consisted of three freestanding wood buildings, which housed first through the 7th grade. The restrooms were in another freestanding wood building. I was in my classroom. There was first and second grade. Our teacher taught 2 grades. There was no running water in there. There certainly was no air conditioner, but we did have a Dearborn heater that she could light up on the cold mornings to keep us warm. I graduated from Judson High School in 1971. During that time, Judson High School went from Class B school to 3A. During that time, my mother was a teacher at Kirby Junior High. And one day her principal came to her and said, Elsie, I'd like for you to make us a library. We got a budget. And so she went back and got, she already had her undergrad, of course, and a master's degree. And she went back and got her library of science degree at Our Lady of the Lake College University. And when she got through with that, Mr. Hopkins, in not so many words, said, here's your space and here's your budget. Make me a library. And she did. She's very meticulous. During this period of time, in those short 12 years, which felt like a long time back then, they don't now, Judson Independent School District went through tremendous change and a transformation. It still is changing and transforming. And I think it's very important that we think about some of those early pioneers, like my mother. Do I have to stop now?
No,
Okay,
1 minute.
like those early pioneers that not only did their job, but took something or built something from nothing. And therefore, I'd like this board to strongly consider naming the library at Kirby Middle School after Elsie Jordan, the original librarian in that school. Thank you very much for your time, and you folks have a good evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Bobby Graves, did I say that right? Bobby Graves? Elsie Jordan, thank you.
No, I, like Rick, I appreciate y'all letting us have a few minutes to discuss and talk about Elsie. The rest of the family, I'm sure, has more details than I have. But I do have one thing different they don't have. How many of y'all were ever assistant librarians underneath her? Any hands? So you're looking at him right here. Class of 72, 73. Kirby Junior High, 8th grade. Now, I am extended family member also because my oldest sister Rita is married to Rick Jordan for 40 plus years. I can't keep track of it. But, you know, back in those days when young people probably didn't realize how that generation of educators influenced us until we got older. And Elsie's just one of many, but she's the one that sticks in my mind because I also got to know her through all the rest of her years of her life. They took it very seriously about the educational impact they had on the young people. I know we still have that going on today in our educators. Of course, you know, I'm a grad of 77 out of Judson, so I've been gone quite a few years. But the impact from that generation, you know, that went through the wars and everything else are, you know, there's just not many of them left. And strongly want to support the board's action when you consider doing a memorial naming of that library for Elsie. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Cherry Brister.
Good evening. I'm here to talk on behalf of Elsie Jordan also. My name is Sherry Brister, and I'm a Judson graduate. I graduated in 1989, and currently I'm a teacher at Coronado Village Elementary. I've worked for Judson for 20 years, and but I was not the first one to start employment with Judson. My mother was actually employed as a substitute teacher in Judson, and my sister also substituted before she started working as a professional in another school district. And but these two were not they were not the first ones to start. It was my grandmother, Elsie Jordan, who started the family history back in 1970 when she opened the library at Kirby Junior High. This agenda item is not just a tribute to her hard work, but also to the future she created for both family and the district. I'm proud to work for Judson, and I thank you for considering the opportunity to name or dedicate the library after her. Thank you.
Thank you. Kendall Faulkner?
My name is Kendall Faulkner. I'm proud to say that I am a 7th grade student at Kirby Middle School. I am also proud to say that both my brothers attended Kirby, as well as my mom and dad and their brothers and sisters. My great uncle also attended Kirby Junior High, which was the name way back then. I am most proud of the fact that until my grandmother became the librarian at Kirby Junior High, there was no library. The possibility of her name being on the new library that I get to use is a great feeling. Thank you for considering this agenda item. It is important to me.
And Council Lady Stephanie Faulkner.
Yes. My name is Stephanie Faulkner. I'm a 1987 graduate of Judson. I'm not here just as a proud granddaughter, but I'm also here as a Kirby City Council member. As a lifetime Kirby citizen, I know 4 things have stood the test of time in our small city: the churches, the railroad, the VFW, and our 2 schools. As time passes, our city government fights to keep Kirby the small town it has always been. In doing this, we need to remember the people who were there to start it all with the hard work and dedication. I know of 3 memorials to past citizens and employees within our city: Hugo Lentz Park, the John Sterling Building, and Hopkins Elementary. Dedicating this new library at Kirby Middle School would not only memorialize my grandmother, Elsie Jordan, as a librarian, but also as a longtime citizen of the city of Kirby. I thank you for considering the possibility of honoring one more of Kirby's citizens.
Thank you. If it's okay with the board, I would like to suspend the rules and go on to item 5, discussion, consideration of action items 5D. We have a motion, we have a second. I need to say that D, consider and take possible action regarding approval of dedicating the Kirby Middle School Library in honor of Miss Elsie Jordan. Motion by Mr. Salyer. Oh, we had a motion. Okay. Discussion? Yeah.
I just want to ensure that we're going to name it, because the motion only says dedicating it, but that we'll take the appropriate measures to name it and place the signage.
Like to make an amendment?
I so amend.
Okay.
It doesn't say that. But that's not what the motion says. I just want to make sure it's clear.
Yes.
So I just moved to amend that it's the naming of, with the appropriate signage and photo.
Okay.
Do you second that? Thank you.
Okay. First, we need to vote on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Now we on the motion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. And congratulations to the grandmother. We're going to go back to the item 4, consideration of consent items. Board members, when I read the items, if you'd like to pull it, make sure and let us know. A, 4A, consider and take action regarding approval of monthly financial information as of April 30th, 2014. B, consider and take action regarding approval of expenditures equal to or greater than 50,000. Oh. Okay. C, consider and take action regarding the approval amendments to the budget for 2014 fiscal year. D, consider and take action regarding approval of construction procurement method for the Wagner High School track. E, consider and take action regarding approval request for proposal 1417B for access control and security camera cabling installation repair. F, consider and take action regarding approval of a shared services agreement with Education Service Center Region 20 to form a cooperative to operate a regional day school program for the deaf. G, consider and take action regarding approval of request for proposal 1424 solid waste removal. H, consider and take action regarding approval of request for competitive seal proposal 1426 for child nutrition cooler freezer replacement. I, consider and take action regarding approval of the Texas Education Agency TEA automatic waiver for low attendance. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Macias, second by Ms. Williams. Items to be voted on will be A, C, E, F, G, H, and I. All those in favor of the motion signifying by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. We go back to item B. Consider and take action regarding approval of expenditures equal to or greater than 50,000. Motion by Ms. Adair, second by Ms. Williams. Mr. Macias.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. I noticed that this particular item had a College Board curriculum and instruction item for $77,121. I think this is something that Ms. Robinson has mentioned that they're going to be doing for our middle school students, 8th and 9th grade. I guess I just wanted a little bit more background. This is this really the only game in town, or I guess what I'm trying to find out is if we have spending $77,000, if we have an option to look at some other opportunities for achieving the same end as opposed to possibly just using College Board. Yeah, I had heard that, but I wanted confirmation on that. That really is, I guess, well, and I'm having some. I just want us to look at what we can do that's going to be innovative, and sometimes you purchase these things, and I don't know if. I understand that, but. In the vein of trying to look for something else that's going to be added value to this, there is nothing else out there other than the College Board, Ms. Robinson? I know they administer the test. I'm familiar with that. Okay. And I guess the question would be then for ACT. I mean, College Board is responsible for the ACT testing as well? Okay. I'm all for competition. I sometimes think we're just paying money and they can charge whatever they want and we're just going to pay them. So that's why I'm asking if there are other sources, other ways to obtain the same information without having to spend $77,000. I like competition, so. No, that's not what I'm suggesting. No, and I'm glad you clarified because that's absolutely not what I'm saying. We need to do that. It's just unfortunate there's only one game in town to get that information from, and so it's not our fault. It's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. That's just the way it is. And when I asked a question about ACT, I mean ACT is another venue in which you can collect, I guess, and do something similar to this. I'm just curious because I think we had discussed too with this whole college readiness initiative to also look at ACT testing as well, and I just don't know how much that would cost. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we're trying to be as efficient as possible, and I don't know. It's just one of those things I want to put on record that it's the only game in town, and I'm thinking we should probably have options, but we don't. Okay, the item's not about ACT, so I won't go any further than that, but I appreciate the clarification on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. No further discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. D, consider and take action regarding approval of construction procurement method for the Wagner High School track. Motion by Ms. Williams, second by Ms. Adair. Mr. Macias.
Dr. Mackey, we've seen this item before, right, when we on the agenda, or is this the first time we've seen it? This is the first time we've seen this item. Yeah, and so what you're going to do, so I'm clear, is you're going to put that out there for a bid? Is that what the construction procurement is? Yes. Okay. What happens next?
We go out for bid.
And then what? You come back to us and you say,
This is the price.
okay. Yeah, Dr. Mackey. Okay. So you go out for bid and we get a price and you come back and then we vote if we want to accept it or not?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a cost? And I'm sorry, but I have to look back at that particular page. Was there already a cost, ballpark?
Page 41, sir.
For that already?
No.
Let me look at my backup data.
No, there's no cost. We have to go out for a bid on it.
Okay, so it says here that the approximate 1.1 million to 1.3 million on page 41 for this. Does that sound right, or?
Yeah, that's what we
Okay.
estimating that it's going to cost, but we don't know till we go out for bid.
Okay. I'm just going to ask the question. I mean, I don't know if this is something we want to do, and that's why I asked if we've seen this already and discussed it about on the board. If this is something we want to allocate funds to, you go through this construction procurement process. It costs us money and time to do it, right?
We do it for everything. We do it for everything.
I understand, but it costs personnel time. It costs time to put it out there,
yes.
And then of course, if the board decides that we don't want to do that, that's wasted time. So I'm wondering if the board should be discussing the possibility of wanting to do this beforehand before we move forward with it. And I'm just not sure if we've had that discussion or not.
Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
I thought we had this on the agenda before.
Yes, we did.
No. We talked about the price.
We talked about it, the price. More
The
than
price.
Let me clarify a few things.
Okay.
During the budget preparation for the 13-14 school year, which is the year we're currently in right now, we did talk about this item. We put $421,000 or $426,000 in the budget as a start. It's on. As a start, just to kind of say, okay, we're going to start looking at this because we thought we were going to only do a certain amount of work to it. And we said, and the difference of this is going to come from bond money to pay for whatever it takes to fix it. Then you saw it again this year when we hired an engineer to come back and say, okay, we're going to hire an engineer to come out and study this to make sure that, you know, what it is going to take to do this. And then the engineer came back and said, well, this is all it's going to need. It's going to be it's going to need more work than we thought. It's going to need a lot of the subsurface is also going to need to be repaired and make sure that it's graded properly so we don't have another problem with this track. And so we've talked about it before. So we've seen a couple of other items during the budget preparation for 14-15 in the listing for the departments. There's also a budget amount in there for $450,000 for next school year because we're going to combine those amounts, the 421 or 426 plus the 450,000 if the board approves it, plus the excess will be coming from the construction money to make sure we have enough funds to build that project. If the board, once we get the bids in, if the board decides we're going to move forward with that process.
But the competitive seal proposal, this is the first time this
for
has
this
ever
particular
been
item
on this
the first
item
time.
identified on this agenda. We've never done that.
Well, I don't mean the proposal itself, but we've talked about the Wagner track.
Yes, we've talked about
several times.
but not the agenda item. Not this agenda item. We haven't.
Right. The specificity of the proposal, but what I'm saying to Mr. Macias is we've been talking about doing this track for Wagner several times at several board
Over a
meetings
year.
prior.
And I vaguely recall when you said 400,000, that's the last time that kind of jogged my memory that you're right. We did talk about 400,000, but to see the 1.1 or 1.3 million, that's triple the cost of. Well, that is not correct.
And I think that the last time we brought it up, we put 420 something in the budget, but I think the estimate back then, and I don't want to misquote, I'd have to go back and look, but I think the estimate back then was already like at $700,000 or $800,000, and the rest of it was going to come out of bond money.
And it would come out of bond dollars?
No, not all of it.
Balance, we put 426, and the balance was going to come out of bond money.
So if it does cost us 1.3, then I can assume the 426 will come out of our budget and the rest will come out of bonds?
No.
426 will be rolled forward from this year to next because we didn't finish it this year.
Mhm.
We're putting an additional $450,000 in next year's budget out of local funds.
So that's
And then the di-
841,000?
And hopefully the difference will come out of bond money. That's what our expectation is right now.
That's pretty big. That's a pretty substantial difference. What were you gonna
Ms.
say?
Williams.
Well, I was going to ask, I mean, Jose, it sounds like what you're asking is if we should proceed forward because do we need the track? Is that, I mean, it sounds like you're asking that, and two of my favorite words in the district are going to be safe and equitable, and so that would be my question is what's the condition? I haven't personally walked the track recently, but I have walked the Judson track recently, and is that, you know, we do need it. So that's why they put it on there. It sounds like you're saying, should we proceed forward? Do we need to do this?
And I'm asking that question because, of course, we were given briefings on this. Like I said, Mr. Lozano jogged my memory when he said 400,000. That was in my mind, but as we talk about getting closer to 1.3 million possibly for this, I mean, that's a lot of money. And so
Right.
I don't know if we were briefed before, and we may have. Mind you, we get a lot of information. So I mean,
Well, and this is just, to me, this is something that's an expected cost. I mean, we have kids out there utilizing these, and it becomes a safety issue. It becomes it's inequitable. We want across the district to have safe and up to date. So to me, I thought we had talked about that, but I could be wrong. But so it sounded like you were questioning whether or not we need it, but
Yeah,
for safety wise and to be equitable for the district, I would say that we do.
Well, and the cost is the only thing that I'm kind of pausing on a bit.
And cost is third, but that's
so if
after
we would've-
safety and
if we would've-
equitability. So. Right.
If I know we're for the bid, I understand that, but if the projections are 1.3, when we get the proposals back, they're going to be in that ballpark, and then that's a whole new decision to make.
Well, I agree. The cost is definitely a concern, but it's got to be behind safety and equitability. And so, thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. And Mr. Macias, you know me very well, sir. The safety of our kids, that's my main concern. I'm not worried about 1.2, 1.3. When we get the bids, because they need it, it's in real bad condition. We cannot afford for our students to be running on that type of track and continue to take a risk that somebody's going to get hurt. I will not stand for that. So when we get the bids, then that's going to be another discussion. Thank you. Mr. Sellier.
Yes, thank you. If I would like to remind my colleagues how this whole discussion got started over a year ago. If you remember when we did the Judson track, what happened? We got in there and we found some stuff that wasn't right, so we had to go back and redo it, okay? So the previous discussion, if I remind my friends on this board, was, well, what if we get in the same situation as we did with the Judson track? So this discussion's been going on for several months. I remember it very well. The point here, this is just voting on procurement method. We're not approving anything. If you don't go out for an RFQ or vote on procurement method, how do you know what something costs? So this is kind of a little bit of rhetoric here, I think. It's just let's find out what the thing costs. Let's vote on it, go out, see what it costs, and see what it comes in at. But let's make sure we got enough money to do the correct engineering survey to go in and make sure we don't make the same mistake we did on the Judson track, right?
Ms. Aiden.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. I disagree with you a little bit, Mr. Salyer. I'm voting for this because safety. Our girls at Wagner have just done an outstanding job. We've just recognized them. We've just recognized our boys. And we have spent the money on our other high school, and so definitely equity. But I am voting with full knowledge that it may cost $1,300,000. And so I'm prepared to spend that amount of money to bring the track at Wagner up to par.
Thank you. Mr. LaFoyle.
You said, is it needed? Yes, it's needed. It's been needed for the last 2 years. The kids have not ran on that track. Maybe if they had a good track, we'd have another state championship. The thing is, you're looking at the point of money. I could say something about money with you, but I won't. I think everybody knows. The thing is, if we don't do this, we are not being fair to Wagner. How much money did we spend on the Judson track? Over $1 million, right? Dr. Mackey?
I'm not answering because I don't recall the exact number either, but it was a substantial amount of money.
It was way over $1 million, I know that. So the thing is, why are we quibbling about the other high school? They've been the bastard child since the day they were put in, and that's going to change. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Macias.
Well, thank you. And I asked the question so we could have this discussion. And if we were not to support this competitive sealed bid, we'd be basically killing it right now. We wouldn't go out to bid, and the project wouldn't continue. I'm very sensitive to the fact that we're not going to meet budget right now. It looks our initial budget discussions show us to be already at a deficit as we plan this next fiscal year. So when it comes down to things that we might want or things that we need, like teachers in the classroom, I'm going to support that over a track. I mean, I know about the equity. I appreciate that, understand that, I support that. But $400,000 up to 1.3 potentially means we need to take a step back, talk about it, and move forward. That's what we do, and that's all I'm asking that we consider. So that's why the questions were asked.
Mr. LaFoyle. Thank you, sir. Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. One abstention. We had a citizen that had wanted to address the board, but it was signed on the wrong place. So I'm going to go ahead and allow that right now before we go on to the discussion and action items. Kim Hicks, PPCD Apple Program.
Hi, I'm sorry for the interruption. I've asked questions on how to do this because I hadn't done it, and I'm sorry I misunderstood where to sign, so I apologize for cutting into where you are, but I enjoy the discussion and getting to know how this works too. So just beginning in the district, I have 3-year-old twins, so we're in the preschool area right now. But my name is Kim Hicks. This is Kenya Torres, and this is Carol Ortega. We all three have sons, preschool-age children that are in the Apple program, which is the autism-specific program that you guys have created for the preschoolers. And so I'd like to just read a little something to you. You may not be aware, but there's been some action that's happened recently regarding the Apple program. So I'd like to, first of all, take the opportunity to speak and thank you for this opportunity. I was originally prepared to come here and present my argument and hopefully gain your support to keep the preschool Apple program intact for the 2014-2015 school year. When I first learned of the district's plans to discontinue the Apple program, I immediately began my quest for answers and vowed to do anything in my power to keep that from happening. I emailed Dr. Mackey, Dr. Gill, the special education director. I distributed letters to my fellow parents to ask for their involvement, and I reached out to you, the board, to ask how to go about getting attention on this matter. I could not have been more elated when I received a phone call from Dr. Mackey yesterday afternoon to let me know that at this point there will be no changes to the program for the coming school year. Thank you. Tonight I'm here to express my gratitude. I am grateful that we were heard. I am grateful that our school officials worked so diligently and professionally to resolve this matter, and I am grateful that our incredible kids will continue to get what they need. I have spoken at length with other parents who have children in Mr. Brown's Apple class, and we all agree that our kids have immeasurably benefited from the environment, student-teacher ratio, and autism-specific curriculum that his class offers. This program offers our children the tools, resources, and staff that best fit their unique learning needs and allow them to reach their full potential. It is no secret that autism is on the rise, and it is a fair assumption to say that within the next 5 to 8 years, 50% of the school-age population could have a spectrum-related diagnosis. That is why it is imperative that we continue to increase the services and resources that are available to our autistic kids. Judson ISD currently stands alone among all local school districts in having a dedicated autism program. You are pioneering and leading the charge in the fight for our autistic kids to receive the best possible intervention available, and you should be applauded for this. My hope is that you continue to understand the necessity for these programs to remain in existence for now and the future, and that you remain proactive in creating even more opportunities for our children to receive the same level of education as neurotypical children. From the moment I received Connor's diagnosis, I accepted that I would have to fight for my son's best interest and to be his advocate for equality. I vowed to my son that I will be his voice until he is able to speak for himself, and I intend to keep that promise. Excuse me. My goal is to remain involved and aware of any changes or intentions of change to my son's education. I am hopeful that in the future, if plans are being discussed that will directly and detrimentally affect our children, that our input would be considered. Again, I would like to express my gratitude to the district for allowing the Apple program to remain, and to thank you all for your time and respect in hearing my concerns tonight. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Item 5, discussion, consideration of action items. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of CFC local accounting audits, first reading. Oh, it's a first reading. Okay, we don't, oh, that's right, we don't have to vote on that. Okay. B, consider and take possible, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Go ahead, sir.
I'm not sure if that's what you really want in this. The third paragraph. The board is, under authority, third paragraph, page 74, the board and superintendent may suggest but shall not dictate areas to be audited and shall work cooperatively with the internal auditor to ensure access and removal impediments to audited areas. What that is saying is that we hire somebody and they can do what they want to do. So.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. I want to know, are we looking to hire an internal auditor, or are we looking for the ability to hire an ad hoc auditor when we want certain things to be looked at? Because there's a big difference on this. you know, money-wise and everything. That's what I'd really like to, you know. If you say we want to hire an internal audit department, that's above and beyond the fiscal part of it. Now, if you're going to hire an auditor and you have them look at the operations, you have them look at the HR, you have them look at finance, you have them look at anything else that we have, police, you know, that's what we're giving them the authority to do. Now, you think you're going to hire somebody like that for $50,000? There ain't no way. And then they'll want a staff. And then we're talking about another $150,000 or $200,000. That's something we, you know, when I made my changes on this, there were two questions. Are we looking at an internal auditor hiring a position, or are we looking at an ad hoc position? So that's where I think we need to speak about. Thank you.
Mr. Macia.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. I thought the suggestion by Mr. Celia to put a policy around it was a great idea. That's essentially where I think this came about. I'm trying just to find a general policy. I think we've adopted some of the best practices from some of our neighboring districts for this. I agree with Mr. Celia on that paragraph. I'd almost be willing to just totally strike it from here. But I did also want to note that in neighboring districts, that the superintendent is not excluded from the process of working with the internal auditor. In fact, the superintendent is part of the team of 8 and also has the ability to work within the internal audit mechanism. So I would encourage that we could consider at least leaving that language or that philosophy in, because they are part of the team of 8. And they do have more intimate knowledge of the district than we do at times, because they're working and managing it on a daily basis. So I'm recalling the time we had the risk assessment done, and when the gentleman from, I forget the company, was addressing us, he made it very clear that the relationship with the superintendent was very important, and that they would be very integral in working through the whole process. So just keep that in mind. Again, I like that it's local. We're kind of feeling our way through it, but at least there's a policy in place. So.
Thank you. First, Mr. Salyer, thank you for noticing that. I'm not certain what they were trying to imply, other than what Mr. Macias said, that the board and the superintendent both working together. So if we take out the words, but shall dictate, I don't want us to get into the place where we were talking at the last meeting. We say the auditor's going to do HR, and then the board comes back and dictates that they do police. And so I would ask that we make sure that whatever the language change is gives us a concise. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We take out "and the superintendent." Okay. Should be, and then leave the rest. And shall work cooperatively, blah, 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 blah. So put a period after audited. Okay, I would agree with that, but I think we should add that line at the end and put the superintendent in there and go back and say the board and the superintendent shall work cooperatively. No, he took the superintendent out of the first part. Because I think we need a line for the superintendent. Right, so that's what I just said, just where you put the period after audited, then just put the board and the superintendent shall work cooperatively to ensure access, bloody bloody. All I did was put the superintendent. After okay, what Mr. Salyer said first, Jackie, was the board take out and the superintendent may suggest and say the board shall dictate areas, shall direct areas to be audited, period. You got that part? Then I said the board and the superintendent shall work cooperatively, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I'm good with that.
Thank you. Again, I want to hear from this board. Are we looking to hire an internal auditor and a department, or are we looking for ad hoc, meaning as it comes up, you know? That's what I want to know. I mean, because it's, you know, the way this is reading, it sounds like you all want to get a department. Yeah. Yeah. Can't help it.
Could speak. Yeah, I'm only speaking for myself. I don't think we're making any decision because it's not a budget item. This was just an attempt to come up with some guidelines of a policy at the request of Mr. Salyer. That's talking about the budget for the auditor, but we haven't even voted or budgeted to have an auditor. So there's no budget associated. We do have some. Yeah. You would like to stick the words ad hoc. I mean,
Again, this policy is written for a position. It's not written for a guideline to use as ad hoc. So, I talk to staff and ask them, am I reading it correctly like that?
Yes, sir. This is to establish a department within the district.
I beg to disagree, but the board has not voted nor made a motion to establish an internal auditor position in the district. There's no motion on the floor. It's not been approved. And although I appreciate your talking to Ms. Howard, you need to just talk to the board because Mr. Salyer is the one that asked for the policy.
Okay, but this policy is set for a department.
Would you like to change the words?
I would just like it to
Well, if I'm a rule person. So there is $75,000 in the budget that has been approved for auditor. Would you agree with that? Okay. Okay. So we have set aside $75,000 that's going to expire in a month and a half. We attempted to come up with some guidelines, but I'm not a good mind reader. So we relied on other school districts that, as you said, have an internal audit department. But they have multiple. The ones you're referring to, they have more than one. They have a lot of them. And they put them in place when the law was passed. And Mr. Elizondo was here when the law was passed. And I attempted to get the district at that time to hire one. And I was assured this district did not need that position. You recall that year? What year was that, Mr. Elizondo? I don't really expect you to answer. I don't remember.
He's gained a lot of weight.
But the point is, we didn't make the department. We don't have a motion to make the department. We don't have a budget item to make the department. We're just trying to establish a policy to spend $75,000. Now, y'all the one making this hard. Just tell me what lines you want in or out, and I'll delete them.
I think we're carrying this discussion over and above. Right now, it's the policy. And I like the idea. Once we have a policy, we can say, you know what, let's start with an ad hoc. We want maintenance department or transportation, whatever it is. Let's start with that. As we are moving along and we see, you know what, maybe we do need a department. When the police department was being established, I was the one that was against it, I guarantee you. I spoke to board members because I was not a board member at the time. I was an employee. So at that time, I felt we don't need no police. I didn't need no help from the police, but I guarantee you, I've changed. Every school district in the state of Texas has a police department. So let's talk about the policy. Let's pass the policy. And then I like the idea of ad hoc. We need to add that word. I don't know where, Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Flores, but I like that idea. Whether we could have an ad hoc or we're going to make it a department. And then this board needs to vote at that time, and not right now. Thank you, sir. Mr.
Not to throw rocks on here, but look on page 77. It's a total different policy. There is actually two policies in your board book. There's one on page 73 and there's one on page 77. So what are we talking about? Page 73 or page 77? You know, I mean, we haven't, I'm not trying to be hard. I know June's thinking I'm being hard. Everybody's thinking I'm hard, but we got two different policies in here, June. There's two policies.
That's an update that Mr. Flores requested from legal.
So which are we first where we got to first read? What are we going to first read next month? I mean, there's two in here. Are we 73? Well, this is 73 or 77. I mean, come on, folks. I'm not trying to be hard. I just want to know what we're talking about.
On 73, and
right.
If you look in the middle of that where the changes are, I said in the event the internal auditor is retained in an ad hoc position. So because I wasn't sure how we were going.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I put that wording in there.
Oh, okay.
But But you know, this is it's just a policy and it's a living document. We can change it as we go, but, you know, it's first reading, so. But this is something for us all to think about and put something in writing the way the way you feel that it might go, and send it to the attorneys and let them go that way.
I was looking at the policy in 73.
Yeah, that's what I'm at, 73. But there's another whole policy on 77. So we need to clarify what policy we're reading tonight.
And we'll continue 73, Gilbert's in 73, what do you think?
I'm taking off 73 because that's where I made the changes. But
Are you taking 73 or 77? 73? Mr. McKee? 73? Mr. Gilfoyle? What about you, Mr. Glenn?
Wherever he had it, you had it, page
It
73
was
at home.
73, yeah.
Okay, yeah, 73.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, and then if need be, on the 29th of May, we can go ahead and put it as another discussion. Not as a second reading. No. But to see what we can update. Okay. Okay, Ms. Williams?
I'll just throw a really quick 2 cents in because Arnold, you actually really kind of covered what I was going to say. I think that as the district is growing and changing, we need to adapt to it. And I think that it's important to try to have a policy that suits both of those because we're also, when we set policy, we're not just looking at right now, today, we're looking at down the road as well and the people that come behind us or after us because we're not all going to be here forever up here. So we need to look at it long term. So that's, I support it at this point, and I think that it's good. And I think you bring up good questions, but we do need to look at both options. And as our district grows, there's a lot of districts that are our size that do utilize internal audits, and there's a lot that don't. So we're kind of in that middle of the road, but we need to look at all options and cover ourselves that way. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Macias?
Well, thank you. I appreciate the debate on this. I can debate every item. I like that. That's what I think we need to be doing.
No, so not when disperse a plane.
Debate, discussion, whatever you want to call it. No, I agree that this is indeed the first reading. It's not rocket science. Other districts are already doing this. We're growing to a degree that we will probably need some mechanism of internal audit in some degree. So this sets the bar. It's a local policy. It's, as Gilbert mentioned, a living, breathing document. And to say what my colleague Mr. Sellier always says, we don't always agree, but this time, Mr. Sellier, I agree with you. We need the policy. So.
Okay. Ms. Adair?
I just want to encourage my fellow board members, let us not be guilty, though, of putting it back on until the budget year has expired and we've done nothing the whole year. So that's all I'm asking is, let's get it done.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, and no other one? Okay, we'll move on to item B. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of local district update, CH local purchasing and acquisition. Second reading, Ms. Adair. Motion by Ms. Adair. Second by Ms. Williams. Ms. Adair.
The policy has been updated, and this is a policy, Mr. Salyer, that was sent to me by the superintendent, and so hopefully we can just vote on this and move on.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. C. Consider. Do we need to go into personnel, Ms. Howard? I know you're not feeling well. Would you like for us to move it right now, or? Okay. I would like to ask that we go into closed session concerning personnel. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of personnel report updates, including new hire, resignation, and administrative. We're going to discuss in 551.074, discussing personnel to hear complaints against personnel. We are going to executive session at 8:20.
And they have promised me tonight that the STEM will not be discussed after 10 o'clock, so y'all, if we're not out, come knock on our door.
From executive session, we are convening reconvening at 9:32. No votes were taken while in executive session. We are going back to consider and take possible action regarding approval of the personnel report and updates, including new hire, resignation, administrative appointments. Motion by Mr. Sellier, second by Mr. Flores. Discussion.
I move to amend.
We have an amendment. Go ahead, sir.
I move to amend that we accept the recommendations with the exception of the principals. We table that motion for the time being.
We have an amendment. We have a second. Any discussion? We're voting on the amendment. Four noes and 3 yeses. The amendment fails. We go back to the original motion. Okay, all those in favor of the, let's vote. Let's vote. Yes, sir. And you're voting to accept the personnel report as presented. Five yeses, 1 abstention, Ms. Adair, and 1 no, Ms. Williams. Motion carried. We are now, again, we're going to suspend the rules, and we're going to go into the part of the STEM presentation, J-STEM enrollment. Dr. Mackey? Oh, yeah, and it was Ms. Williams. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Members of the board, Dr. Mackey, I'm here to provide you an update on our STEM activities. First thing I'd like to share with you is in the process of building the school, I did some heavy recruitment and promotion starting the month of January. I did 5th grade presentations, went to every elementary campus, shared information with the students, and promoted exactly what they would be expecting to see, criteria, responsibilities, and expectations of the campus. In addition, I provided parent forums at the different middle schools to allow the parents to ask me questions in regards to the program. And I also provided local media, web promotion, and internal district presentations available as upon request. In the month of February, prior to the lottery, I also had 4 parent sessions. Any of the students that had applied, they and their parents were provided opportunities in the month of February to come back and listen with more detail as to the status and what to expect in the lottery. The lottery was conducted on April the 1st, and a total of 125 students were selected. Each feeder, in the initial planning of the STEM Academy, the planning committee had asked that we make sure that we would try to at least collect 25 students from every feeder. In that process, this information that's being provided was what was collected through the applications. A total of 188 students applied, and the information there is provided in regards to how that was broken up. The actual enrollment, for example, Kirby Middle School, of that actual enrollment based on the lottery, the number besides each title of the campus is indicative of how many students were selected. The disparity of it, our initial intent was to definitely ask that we get 25 students from every middle school feeder. What was a result was that we had a lot more male students applied than females. So when you're looking at the numbers and the question is, okay, why are our numbers different? It was because we did have more males as opposed to females. The concern was we wanted to make sure that it was an equitable gender approach. We know in this STEM career focus that many of the females are apprehensive about joining STEM. We lack in our nation
as far as how many female engineers, how many females are interested in math and science. So that was one of the top priorities, that we wanted to make sure we had that equity within our enrollment. The staff, currently, I have a total of 5 teachers, core academics including a pre-engineering teacher. All of them on board, and we're hoping that our math teacher gets approved here soon. We've added an RTI instructional coach that was filled in March, and the campus secretary as well. Our summer staff development is full. As I interviewed the teachers, it was indicative that I share with them that even though their contract would not start until August, because this was in a unique school and the rigorous curriculum that was going to be provided and the differentiation of the instruction on a project base, we're going to have all of these different types of staff development that would take place. Project-based learning is what the instruction delivery that we're planning to execute at this campus. We know that we're having quite a few GT students, so we need to make sure we have GT training and so forth. The Math TEKS update, that's new coming down from the state. We know we have to provide them college and career readiness piece. Google Apps, because we're in a 1-to-1 ratio, our teachers need to be familiar with Google Apps and Flipped Classroom and our engineering program. Math and science, our instruction in those two departments will have a different type of calculator that will be used, and therefore we need the training in that as well. And in the month of July, we actually have the PBL development and design. So it's a new training, new information that's coming out that we'll go ahead and roll out for the upcoming school year. What do we offer in the summer? Because we're currently not fully staffed, we have worked out with the Boys and Girls Club to make sure that they had a STEM component in their traditional their traditional summer program. Camp Invention is something else that many of our students are going to participate. What we're looking forward to in the after-school programs is naturally participate in our Boys and Girls Club and talking to them. They're going to go ahead and provide us support in providing our own tutorials through our campus. We've looked at providing an audio-video production studio. We're seeking funds and outside scholarships and possible support. That hasn't been worked out, but it's something that we're currently working on. And of course, the most important for our kids that has really drawn some attention would be the first robotic league clubs that we'll be having after school. Transportation and services, I've been working with the transportation department to make sure that what we had shared with the parents, that because this school was within the school at Judson Middle School, we wanted to make sure we had that ease of making sure the students had transportation from their area to the school. Currently, under review with the transportation department, we're looking at having bus stops in the area neighborhoods to make sure that our students, we can facilitate that and that they get to our campus on time. And food services, we're working with them as well to inform them of the times that we're going to be utilizing the cafeteria, and of course additional students that would be housed at Judson Middle School. Our facility, for the floor completion, we anticipate will be done in the month of May. Our technology cabling, all that should be done in June. And our ceiling projectors and screen installations, because that was such an old facility, it is such an old facility, we've had to do a lot of renovations in the technology area. The lighting retrofit is something that that department is looking at doing in numerous around the district. So Judson Middle School was targeted as being done this summer, with STEM as well being one of the first retrofits. Our science classroom updates, those have not been updated, so we're cleaning out, refinishing, ordering new equipment. And we've actually added color to the campus. So hopefully y'all will be able to go out when we have our open house that we've requested, scheduled for August the 5th of this upcoming school year. Furniture has been ordered, technology has been ordered, and science equipment as well has been ordered. That was a before. That is the third floor at Judson Middle School, also known as STEM. There's the floors without any tile. At the time that we took the pictures a couple of months ago,
We didn't have Code Base. Code Base has been added, and we're still looking at doing some of the classrooms. That was a before picture of the classroom, and we've added color and schematics that will hopefully inspire students to be productive in our classrooms. And that's it. Questions?
We have like board member, Ms. Adair.
Thank you so much, and I apologize for having to bring you back so many times.
It's okay.
I have several questions. I'll start with the easy one first. The food service, Dr. Mackey, that shouldn't be an issue because we already have a cafeteria there. Okay. The teachers that you mentioned that are going to need training in the summer, are they being paid?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I mean, I would hope so, because you mentioned that they're going to have to come, so I want to make sure that, yes, we're going to pay them for that training when they come in the summer.
You are correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And on the facility, you said everything has been ordered, and so we're at the point that you're just waiting for everything to arrive to be set up.
Correct.
And so you expect, because Mr. Kirshner isn't here, so you expect it to come in and be set up by when?
By the end of June.
By the end of June.
Correct.
And now let's go to the difficult part. I kept putting this on the agenda because I've heard many concerns. When we initiated our early college, the board's intention was to offer opportunities across the board. Unfortunately, it appears to me that it has turned into a selection of the brightest and best, which were already on the road to success. Not enough mixture, if you will, and I'm going to try to be politically correct as I speak. However, the numbers do not reflect well. I understand your concern with male versus female. However, that is not what I feel, and I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for the board. We said we were going to give every middle school the opportunity, and it greatly concerns me that one of our lowest socioeconomic areas has the least, and in our highest socioeconomic area, we all know where Kitty Hawk is. We know that the students at Kitty Hawk live in expensive homes, have two parents a lot of times, have all of these opportunities available, but yet we've selected 35 kids from Kitty Hawk, which is more than everybody else, and yet Metzger only has 15. But they did have applicants. Now, I understand that it's too late, but I want to go on record in saying, Dr. Mackey, I don't feel that this is acceptable. How many of these students are TAG?
I probably have a good 30 students only.
Only 30. How many are GT?
Well, that's...
Well, and so, but some kids test in one and not the other. So, out of the 188 kids, how many kids do we pick?
125.
Okay, out of the 125, only 30 kids are TAG brilliant kids already. The rest of the kids, if I ask to see their scores, they're all in the average. They're just average kids that we're going to try to give a love for science and technology.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you spoke about the male and the female, I would like to see the numbers of how many males and females applied from each campus, and then what the selection was. And then I'd also like to know how many of those 125 students are on free or reduced lunch.
And that I can provide that information.
And then lastly, I would like to know what's the ethnic background of those students.
Sure.
Thank you so much for taking time to prepare that, and the colors look great.
Good. Thank you.
I'm interested in seeing what it all looks like, because remember, I'm the person that wants to know where the money's going to come from.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
And just as a reminder, August the 5th is the date we have selected as our open house.
Open house.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other-
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of questions. It says here that we hired one RTI instructional coach, which was filled in March. What is that person doing since March? What has that person been doing since March? See, we don't have students with the law.
The instructional piece, the instructional coach
The
piece,
RTI.
yes. That person's already looking at student scores because we want to make sure that we are aware of where the students are at after the first assessment. So we've already identified our students, who's lacking in passing STAR, who do we need to start helping, already developing plans over the summer as to how we can go ahead and make sure that they have additional support. We have also been talking to the special ed and dyslexic departments to make sure that we're providing them plans, the students, some additional support over the summer. So that person, even though our students aren't on board, we're already analyzing data. And from the instructional piece, that person has been contacting the teachers, making sure that our staff development is in place, ensuring that all the material that we need, as she's dialoguing with the teachers, that's what she's doing as well.
Okay, very good. I was not aware that Millers Point was a feeder school for Judson Middle School. I always thought it was for Kirby. I mean, I always thought it was for Kitty Hawk.
It used to be, we changed it.
Well, what I was gonna tell Mr. Trevino is that, last month I did ask about that, and the reason was because I had included Millers Point as a feeder school. And I think I said, wait a minute, how did we end up with 42 or 43? And then, of course, we changed it and we got this new update.
Yes, sir.
It was great. But now I understand because that was my mistake and I apologize for that, okay? The other one that I have here is that facility update. Furniture delivery. I don't recall seeing any RFQ for buying furniture. Are we getting new furniture or are we getting furniture from the different schools or where is this coming from?
That is new furniture.
Brand new furniture?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And of course, then I'll talk to Dr. Mackey about when did we put an RFQ for the furniture or how do we go about that, Dr. Mackey?
We do earlier, I'm trying to remember what month it is, that we bring a lot of RFPs to you for general supplies that we buy for the entire district for the whole year, and y'all approve all those at that time. So we went to one of the approved, either one of the ones that we did here for the district, or one that Region 20 has on an approved vendor list, and we just selected one of those vendors that has been accepted either by the school district or one of the co-ops that we use, and said this is the furniture that we need, give us a price, and we awarded it to them.
Was it over 50,000?
Well, even if it is over $50,000, we could do it, but
I
don't know, Mike, do you know the amount, Mike? Do you know the amount by chance, Mike?
It's hovering right below 50,000.
Yeah.
It was what, ma'am?
It was under 50,000 anyway, no matter which way they used it, so it wouldn't have come to the board.
Well, make sure and at least let us know the company, okay? Even though it's an approved vendor, I don't have a problem with an approved vendor. I just, the company, because now we've got a new elementary coming up, okay? And we're gonna go through the same procedure. Probably it's gonna be more than 50,000 for the new elementary.
But it'll come out of bond.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but we still have to do an RFQ.
It doesn't, the company that we used is Indico, first of all, just for the record, for the just JSTEM program, is Indico Sales. That's who we use for that particular company. The board policy says that even if it's over $50,000, okay, as long as we use a vendor that has been approved previously by the board with one of the RFPs, whether it was one of our RFPs that we issued, which we do just at the beginning of the year, we do a lot of RFPs for different things, or if it's one that Region 20 has done or one of the other cooperatives that are in the state, if it's one of the ones that the board approved that says, yes, you can use this co-op, like we can use the Northeast ISD awarded vendors, we can use the ones we have, we can use Region 20, we can use Buy Board. If it's any one of those approved lists, we can use that vendor to make the purchases even if it's over $50,000. The only caveat is that the board has had to approve money for us to buy the items that we're buying. And as long as that's happened, then we can go ahead and use anybody on those approved lists.
Well, the problem that I have, and this is my feeling, not the board, I'm speaking for myself. Let's say we need 1,000 desks. Yeah, okay, here's an approved vendor, the company, Minico, whatever. Say, hey, give me 1,000. Well, how do we know if the other company wasn't cheaper? If we just, how do we go about that? That's my concern. Oh, Mr. Esmer, I'm sorry.
If it'll help put your mind at ease, what we did, sir, is whenever we were looking at the Kirby Middle School Science Lab, that building as it was being reconstructed,
Okay.
we went and secured quotes for furnishing that building, and then we used that as a basis so that on the STEM Academy, we did not go and get competitive quotes from many companies because we already knew where the lowest price was coming from because we had just gone and looked at similar types of furniture for that building. So the prices were we already knew where the vendor was going to be coming from. The other thing, too, is that our vendor that we do use offers a lifetime warranty on the furniture now, and so we've been very hesitant to move to anything else. Most of the competitors, about a 10 to 15-year warranty is the most that we're getting. So we're trying to make sure that we've got some good, long-lasting things there, but we are looking at price, making sure that we're not getting gouged and that pricing's not creeping up.
So you're telling me that this company will tell you, yeah, we're going to sell you 1,000 chairs, students, desks, for lifetime warranty. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
That's hard to believe. When
I understand that,
you
and
know the destruction, because I've been in the business. That's why.
yes, sir,
That's
and
why I'm asking.
And I'll tell you the reason why we're concerned about it as well, and why we're looking at warranty and things like that, is because, and this is drifting off topic a little bit, but last year we had a problem at Woodlake Hills Middle School to where we had almost 400 desks that broke on some welds. This was not the same furniture provider. This was another manufacturer that used this. It was 1 year out of warranty, had a 10-year warranty, and it was in its 11th year of operation. They wouldn't stand behind it at all. So we spent a little bit of money on replacing some furniture and a lot of labor trying to make it safe for kids. So, and we'll probably see a change in the future of how that school is furnished as we try to fix that. So we're concerned about all of that going forward, not only with getting the price, but making sure that we've got some quality furniture that's going to last. The innovations in furniture manufacturing, though, is fabulous. I mean, you remember how you used to have the rivets in the tops of the chairs that would crack out and pinch legs and stuff like that? They don't use rivets. They've got a crimping mechanism underneath the chair now. They just don't crack. And so, I mean, it's the durability is there. And this company, we're not going to let them get away with offering this promise and then not carrying forward with it. So anytime we have something break, we've got a good experience with this vendor. They've done probably 9 out of the last 10 schools that we've built and renovation packages, and if we've ever had a problem, they've stood behind it, and that's really what we need whenever we have something fail.
Do the other vendors know that the reason is because, hey, company A here tells me their lifetime warranty. Are you willing to do a lifetime warranty or whatever? And
I have found one company out of New York that'll offer a lifetime warranty on their product,
Okay.
but their pricing is not competitive to what we're getting right now.
No, that I understand.
But we are definitely looking at that price, and we're not saying, hey, we're willing to pay more because of the warranty. We want a good price and we want a good warranty. So we want that best value.
So we've dealt only with one company the last 9
But we have gone and got pricing from many companies for those projects.
and that's what I want.
Sure.
I don't want us to just to stick one company, even though I'm one of those say, hey, you give me lifetime warranty, I'm going to be with you all the time. But again, the pricing.
Yes, sir.
To me, that's very important. But of course, if I have to pay $10 more for a lifetime warranty, I'm going to give you $10 more.
And we're usually paying $10 less. Just so you know, we're getting a better price and a better warranty. So.
I like that we're getting a lifetime product, which is hard to believe for, I know school children.
Well, and as long as I'm here, I'll make sure that within my lifetime here that we enforce that warranty, and hopefully as we go forward in the future.
If you ever decide to retire, we want to make sure that the other person that replaces you knows about, oh, if you ever have any problem with that, it's lifetime warranty.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no. Okay, sir. Mr. Trevino, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Trevino, thank you very much. We're moving in the right direction. And I believe Ms. Williams has a few questions.
I don't really have questions. It's more just a comment to say thank you. And I did ask for this, and I think June very she articulated very well, very eloquently my concerns. So I don't want it to be mistaken that I'm very, very excited about this academy that's upcoming, and everything that you presented tonight is awesome. I do have very big concerns, and I do not think boy versus girl is a priority over what we had originally set when we approved this to begin with equal distribution throughout the district and equal opportunity from every corner of the district. And that's my one point I'm really disappointed with. But everything else I'm really excited for, and thank you so much for coming tonight.
I'd just like to reassure the board, right now I have a total of 37 on the waiting list, and they're all males, not one female. So at different schools.
What I'm saying is, we need to make sure that, and I'm not going to use the word that Mr. used earlier, but we need to make sure that all of our schools are treated equally, and that students from all of our middle schools are given an equal opportunity for the additional opportunity.
And that's being recognized. And for next year, we do know that I have to make some other arrangements. Because of the schools that you're concerned with, it is a concern, and the strategy will have to be different, because those are the parents that need to hear it.
Yeah, well, we want those kids.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I did have a question or a comment, actually. I just wanted to, again, just applaud your efforts. JSTEM is very important. We only have but a blink of an eye here on the board, so we want to initiate programs like this that are really going to make a difference. And parents that I talked to out in the community that were selected for this first-year program, they're in the clouds right now. They're so excited for the opportunity, and we're going to nurture this cohort to the next level. So obviously, just know that you have my full support as we move forward. And it's a learning curve, and I think we all understand that, so we won't beat anything down on that. I do think that at some point we may want to, in the vein of parental involvement, look at those aspects as well and treat parents, engage them, because you have already a strong group of people, and I don't know if you've started thinking through that in your visioning in the next year or two of having a strong parent engagement piece within this JSTEM program.
Mr. Macias, when I did the parent forums prior and after the presentations, I did indicate to the parents that it was a requirement, and I was questioned by my superiors at times, are you sure you're going to be able to do this? It is a requirement. It's not volunteer parental participation. It is a 10-hour requirement. And everyone was on board with that. What I indicated to them that it wasn't about fundraising, it was about learning what we were going to do. It's about coming back and giving back to your children and being involved and having book studies and possibly technology. We're doing a lot of things that are different. They need to be aware, and they've made a big commitment with their kids to come to us from around the district. So we want to reassure that as much as possible, and the only way we can do that is by having them participate with us. So in regards to your concern, there is a 10-hour requirement.
Well, that's good, and I do appreciate the non-fundraising part of it, because we're looking at the academic aspect of it.
I'm not saying we don't need money.
I understand that.
I'm just saying that that's not the big concern.
I applaud that. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. I have one more thing, though. What about the committee? Are we done with the committee? Do you still have a committee? You mentioned it the last time, but you didn't give us an update on it.
Right. The committee, and there was a reason for that. The committee that we originally had was the planning committee. The next phase will be the actual advisory committee. That will entail parents, business and industry, and some of the district. So that's a.
You told us that you were going out and you were seeking. So have you made any progress in that area?
I've been so busy with the students and the staff that now that's the next phase, is trying to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, let us know when you get the committee and which of our business partners are willing to, and if you need some help with that, Dr. Mackey has great contacts in the business, so seriously, in the business community, because he's in the, the Rotary, and they have a lot of business people in the Rotary, and that will be part of the
Thank you.
C, 5C, consider and take possible action regarding approval to purchase and installation of the needed security equipment to allow campuses to keep their doors locked, allowing front office staff to see, verbally communicate, and unlock the doors remotely from the front desk. Ms. Williams. We need a motion.
Motion.
Motion from Ms. Williams, second by Mr. Macias. Discussion, Ms. Williams.
Thank you. I want to make sure, I just kind of explain for a minute just to make sure we're all on the same page. The thought behind this, and you did get two different, I want to make sure the board did get the updated list too. Well, it's not really an updated list, there's two separate lists. One with the vestibules and one without. Did everybody get that? Just make sure everybody's up to speed. But the idea behind this, I want to make sure that everybody knows that I do understand that there's an awful lot of danger out there in the world and we can't prevent everything from happening. But I think that we are responsible for looking at our vulnerabilities and making the best decisions to make changes within our vulnerabilities to protect our students the best we can. We can't put them all in a bubble. Unfortunately, we can't put police officers on every single campus right now, but this is something that is a small change but can make a big difference in my opinion. We right now had been, and I wish Mr. Kirshner was here, somebody here that can answer some Mr. Kirshner questions, but Dr. Mack, do you know who I should direct some questions to? Okay, that works. Well, I know we had been using, we had set aside about $100,000 to redo the fronts of one school, two schools per year, roughly. Is that about?
Nope. We set aside to do 11 schools.
Right, I know, but per year. I'm saying how many are we doing per year out of that $100,000? Because it costs a lot of money. So we've talked about changing the entrance of schools, and we have the entrance of schools. That's what we're doing, is because schools were built differently, where some schools we can just walk right onto a campus because of the way the school was set up, where some of our newer schools, there's double doors that you get filtered straight into the office. If you lock that second set of doors and there's a front office in the middle, you have to go into the office. And in theory, there should be staff sitting in the office so that you do have a first response to people coming on campus. But some of our campuses are not set up that way. They weren't built that way.
We have 7 campuses with vestibules, and we have 11 without them. And with the $100,000 is to put the push button and the camera to monitor who lets in the building. That's the difference.
No, sir. That's not what I was talking about. The $100,000, I'm talking about the construction that we've proposed and changing. That's why I was proposing this in the first place. What we had talked about was safety, is those other schools that do not have the vestibules, that do not have the double doors, is to slowly, as we can afford over time, to redo the entrances to make them safer by adding that component. And in the meantime, while we've been talking about this, one of our elementary campuses has gone ahead and had basically, they have locked their campus doors because they do have this camera equipment that I'm talking about in this, where they are able to keep their doors locked. They can see from their front desk when someone pushes the button, they can see, and they also have audio to say, how can we help you? And if it's a routine thing, this is I'm here to drop off lunch. I mean, they let you in. They see that you're here for a reason. If you're not here for a good reason, you're agitated, they don't let you in. That's something they can choose not to. But it's working very well at this one campus.
2 campuses.
Okay, 2 campuses. So 2 campuses now that we're doing this at. I know that this has been, I know people have said that this is not public school. We don't lock people out. And it's not my intention to keep people out. My intention is this buys a little bit of time if people should not be on our campus. We cannot prevent everything, but time is an incredibly important factor. We don't want people to just be able to walk onto our campuses undetected. But we also don't want mad, angry people that just happen to show up to be able to walk onto campus either. This was put into place in a couple of schools, and I think that it's not keeping people out, it's screening who comes in. And it's just the same, you can make the same argument that in hospitals 10, 15 years ago, this was not a welcome feature in hospitals. But now you can't get anywhere near a mother-baby unit, intensive care units. They use the same equipment, the same type of equipment, where you have to push a button, you have to say why you're there, who you are, before you're let in. And it is remotely let in, so that's part of the advantage to this, that these schools that they're using it, their staff does not have to get up, walk out to the front door and open the door. They're able to say, come on in, and they push the button. I'm also not suggesting, this is not something that's used 24 hours a day, 70, like every single hour. When kids are getting off the buses, when kids are supposed to be coming in, you're allowing people in. But once that bell rings, there's not really supposed to be a whole lot of movement and people coming in and off of a campus, and you want to know about that. And this is an immediate fix that stops people from coming into a campus without spending $100,000 to redo 1 or 2 schools every year for an entrance. So this is why I brought it, is that as a safety concern to consider that doing, and it's approximately $9,000 per school is what they quoted, but that was my question for Mr. Kirshner. Almost every school is quoted as having 2 doors that would require this technology. Is that correct, Dr. Maggie? And my question is, there's multiple campuses, and I can promise you, yes, they have more than 2 doors even. But when I enter a school, even one of the schools that has these cameras, I don't enter from just whichever door I want. You come in through the front door. All the other doors are locked. So why are we doing a quote for $9,000 per campus for 2 doors when we don't invite people to come in any door but the front door? So all of the other doors are locked. If you park anywhere around a school, you go to door to door to door, they're all supposed to be locked. We don't let you, maybe Richard can answer that for why 2.
The reason they do it at Park Village is because we have the building in the back.
Sure, okay, that makes sense.
The gymnasium, the kids got to go over to there, they come back.
That's right, okay.
The teacher
Okay.
got to get back in.
Well,
Most
and-
teachers have
Right.
keys to get in,
Sure.
but some don't.
Absolutely, and that's a good point, because I know we do use portables on some campuses, and they have to be able to come in and out. But at the back of some campuses, they have your ID card, or your actual ID swipes you back in. So those kind of doors do not need this kind of equipment. What we're talking about is front door for parents coming in and out. That's a very good point. And that's an excellent point, and that's something that it's certainly something to consider. But when you're out there in those portables or in those facilities, you're never supposed to be alone. And I know there may not be bathrooms, there may not be things, but you are escorted, or you should be escorted back in. I'm not saying we shouldn't put a camera back. I'm saying that but I agree with you. I mean, that's.
Teachers out there with children. Hold the child wants to go, the teacher's going to go back and leave the kids out there?
No, and that's a great point. But that's why on that particular campus, yes, you would need 2. And on some campuses, if you have portables or outside buildings where you're having elementary come in and out, then I would agree. But there are some campuses that do not have portables or other buildings outside of the main building. They're all in one facility. So why would we opt for 2 cameras or 2 sets of equipment at double the cost in theory? That's why when I asked, that's why, Mr. Kirshner, a lot of the school layouts are different. So it's more, I'm looking for we're not getting a great estimate on what specifically is needed for what I'm proposing for for increased safety. Right, well, we're spending, how much is it costing to put a vestibule in for one school? Well, that's what I need to know the answer to, and that's why, and it's important to know, because I thought we were spending roughly close to $100,000 for getting about 2, and we're doing per year. We're leaving all these schools open to, open access where people can walk right in and have no.
We're putting these cameras in these buses. We're getting a quick fix on it.
Right.
At a later date, we'll get a bomb, and then go ahead and.
If they need to.
Right, but that's why I'm proposing that campuses need them now. We can't afford to just do, 2 campuses have them, the rest of them don't. And right, okay, yeah, that's right. I understand, but to be able to move forward, I need to know. I agree with Richard. Some campuses, absolutely, it makes sense to have 2, but all of the campuses are listed. All of the campuses are listed for 2. Not all the campuses may need 2. He did, but that was not including all elementary campuses.
Not every elementary campus. Some like Rolling Meadows. Rolling Meadows already put up. Copperfield is already.
Right, and I agree. Copperfield, I mean, there are numerous, like Dr. Mackey had said, there's the vestibules and the non-vestibule schools. However, we're accomplishing something different. The ones that have the camera in place have a locked door. Just because there's a vestibule, that means you have to walk it through 2 doors to get into the school. But at schools like Park Village who have implemented that, it's just 1 door and it's locked.
I know, but the vestibules, they have to go through the office. They don't go through the school.
Right, I understand, but but it's still, there's still a key difference. If you have those vestibules, you have to walk through the office, the doors still are not locked, and anyone can come in at any time. There isn't, well, wait, why are you here? And there is a difference in that. So you're saying that the schools that have double doors are automatically safer just because you have to go through 2 doors? They're not. They're unlocked, so they're not safer. This allows campuses to have doors locked to have limit access. Mm-hmm.
The only place they can go is into the office.
Right.
The other door is locked.
Mm-hmm.
They come into the office,
Mhm.
then they go in the other way.
Right, but the difference, there's still a lock. And you may have one staff member, if you're lucky, especially, with regards, we've had discussion about receptionists, but we're maybe getting rid of receptionists at these campuses. You have one person there at the front desk if nothing else is happening. I mean, I'm just concerned that you're locking campus. There's a disadvantage. It's not equitable, and I keep going back to equitable. You have campuses that have a locked door.
Do you not want the door locked?
I do.
Okay, then.
That's why we put it in.
By saying the door is locked, you got a locked door.
No. I'm saying I want them to all have the same ability to lock.
Right.
But if you have a vestibule, but if you have the walk-through, so everybody's going to lock their office door and you have to get up from your desk to unlock the office door, that's the difference, Richard. I'm saying that if you show up on one campus, you can walk right in the door, even though there's 2 doors you have to walk through and there may be somebody sitting behind the desk. You can walk in. I don't care if I'm a mad parent or if I'm just dropping off I can walk right in. I just have to open 2 doors. At another campus, I can be a mad parent or just coming in for routine business, and I can't get in. The door is locked. There's a very big difference. And in safety, that matters. And I know that we can't protect everybody. We can't prevent everything bad from happening. I understand that. But seconds make a huge difference in emergencies. That all of them, not just, I'm sorry. If I'm not being clear, I apologize. Yes, no, what I'm recommending is the first piece that's actually in board book is just the ones that do not have vestibules. The email we got included all of them. So all campuses, with the exception of the 2 that already have them, that's my recommendation, is that all elementaries, as I have put in here, that was my goal, all elementaries, not just half, or, the ones without the vestibule. Mine is all of them.
So they just wouldn't need the camera because they come into the office, they can't get in the school in the first place.
Is it locked? Is the front door of Salinas locked? No. The second door is locked at all times. That's not true, because I've been to Salinas recently and I was able to walk right in. It's not locked. I mean, so that's what I'm saying is, yes, of course, some of these schools that have the double doors, you can sit there and lock the office door, but you have to get up and unlock it. This is a remote thing where there is a lock on a door.
Can we get some more comments?
Absolutely.
Mr. Salyer.
Yes. Beth, I agree 100% with you, safety, but here's the deal. We're mixing apples and oranges. If you go back to 2010 bond to secure our schools, it was $8 million. Now, you're right, exactly right, seconds count. The active shooter lasts 3 minutes. So if you can gain 30 seconds, that's a lot. But here's the deal. The people are going to use this door and this buzzer and this camera, are people going to go use the buzzer and the camera. If you want to get into a school, you're going to get into a school. I agree we need deterrence, but it's going to stop the angry parent, and I don't care. I really don't care. You got to wait 30 seconds to get into school. I don't care if it saves. But here's my recommendation. This is one size fits all. You get the architecture of our schools, it's all very different. If you look at $9,169.14 to do this, I think it's prudent to go back and let's do it the right way. and let's have Mr. Kirshner look at every school and say, what is the good fix, okay? And you're right. I mean, you look at Olympia, one of my schools. You open up Olympia, walk in, the office there, and you go left or right. You can go to cafeteria. You can be to cafeteria in 5 steps. Okay, so the fix there is very different in Olympia than Crestview. Okay, or Coronado. The fix is very different, right, Ms. McGinty? You know what I'm talking about? Because the architecture is different. We're trying to make apples and oranges, you know, a slushy. And I understand you want a quick fix, but $162,000 for something that honestly is not, it's not really going to deter what we want to do. A camera and a button is not going to deter. You're right, it's going to save seconds. I agree 100% with you with that. But I think we need to take a step back and do it right. That's just all I'm saying. Thanks.
Say there.
Mr. LaVoyle.
Mr. LaVoyle.
That's great, Steve, but the thing is, we're trying to make our schools safe now. All right.
Now.
You say you let him in, he can go anywhere he wants. The thing is, they know he's there. If he don't come in the office, they know he's there. That's why we're going to have this quadrant, 4 things with a police officer. Immediately call.
What I'm saying
You've gained seconds there, Steve.
And I'm the one that preaches.
Yeah, I know you
active
do.
shooter 3 minutes. I know that you train it, but I don't. I want to do it right. We do so many things in this.
We don't have the money to do it right.
You agree, but
Or
I
the
want to
time.
make sure that here's my concern, and I'll vote for this, but here's my concern. I'll make a motion to amend that we look at the architecture component of each school and do it right. In fact, I'll make a motion to amend right now that we look at the architecture of each of the school and make sure that. Okay, go ahead. I'll put my name back on there.
She's Leah Elizabeth.
Go ahead.
But
Jude,
I was
make the
talking to
motion.
him.
Okay, but here's what I want to. I want to do it right. This is one size fits all.
Yeah.
And you know, Richard, one size fits all doesn't work. You know, some schools will need a little more, some schools will need a little less because of what it's at.
We understand that, Steve. But the thing is, while we're waiting through the years to get the architect and everything else and the money to do this, what could happen?
Well, that's a what if every day, Richard. That's a what if every day. I agree with that. I don't disagree with you, but again, we're going to spend $162,000. Don't take it away because Beth put it on there, and it's a good idea. I'm not saying it's not a bad idea, but we got one size fits all here, and our schools are not one size fits all. Look at Kitty Hawk, for example. How do you secure Kitty Hawk?
We're just talking about elementary tonight, and I talked to middle school. We're just talking about elementary, just elementary, no middle schools or high
How
school.
do you know, all of them are different, Richard. You've been in every school in this, all 18 of them. We got another one coming, okay? But to fix fix Olympia is going to be very different than fix somewhere else.
I know that.
So let's
But the
do it
thing
right.
is, we're going to have to do something.
Well, that's the wrong philosophy, Richard. We got to do something because that's where we get in trouble. I'm not agreeing. I am 100% for this, but doing something is always not the best way to do things anywhere. You know that, Richard. I agree. I'm for this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm for
But
it.
the
But
thing
what
is-
I'm against is how we're doing it. If you look at every single school, $9,169, you cannot do that way in this district because every school is different.
I know that, Steve. Look at Hartman. Hartman, you walk in the door, you can go to the right, nobody even sees you.
You're right.
But see, we've been hammering this around now for how many years?
Since 2010, since I've been on board, $8 million in there, and it got voted down by the.
Yep.
Right, well, and there's a lot,
I just want to do
yeah.
it right, Richard. I'm not saying no. I just want to do this right.
I would love to do it right too, Steve, but do you have the money to do it right?
Right now,
Or should we
exactly.
just leave it go?
Right. And I'm not suggesting we don't do this right. This is only a small fix. I'm sorry, yeah, but you're right. You said it, but you said it. This is only this is a temporary, this is until we can make these bigger changes. I'm not suggesting this is the only thing we should do, but we do need more time. We need time, and it's going to take time to go through each and every one. We have so many different designs. In the meantime, this is a much, much less expensive temporary, this is something that can immediately offer some increased safety. It's not a perfect situation, it's not a perfect solution, but it is something, and it's immediate, and it's affordable. I know, sorry.
Mr. President. When Dr. Mackey first came to the district, I told him that we needed to get metal detectors, those things you have at the airport, at the high schools, because I went to a conference in Dallas, and they had them at the entrances to the high school, so when the kids walked through, they could detect if they were carrying weapons. And I don't know if Dr. Mackey remembers what he told me, but he said something along the lines that what kind of message will we be conveying to our community, and what kind of fear will we set up? I have to agree with what Mr. Salyer said in the beginning, and that is the person that is going to do violence is not going to be standing outside of the door acting violent and expecting to get buzzed in. The student that had the weapons in our neighboring school district already had the weapon in the school, in the bathroom. The AK-47 was already there. What made the difference is the relationship that the parents cared enough that they came. And part of what we have to do is work on building relationships with our students, with our teachers, and with our community. We can put in all the buzzers and all the little lights, and it doesn't mean anything because it could be one of our employees that is disgruntled. It could be one of our students that just found out they're not graduating because we didn't do something to help them get across the stage. So, I would agree that we need to do a facility study, evaluation, whatever it is, but I know there are security companies that go to school districts and evaluate and come back and tell you and then put a dollar amount. I will not be supporting this tonight. Dr. Mackey said it's part of the budget because I don't think this is the answer. I don't want to waste the money to do this. And that's about as concise as I can put it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ms. Williams.
Thank you. Well, one thing you just said, June, is the message that it sends, and I know that that's been a concern. And if you come onto campuses and they have metal detectors and locked doors, and what kind of message? But honestly, as a parent, and I can speak as a parent on the elementary level. I have 3 students that are elementary students here in the district. And those seconds do matter. I agree 100%. If someone is mad and they want to do us harm, having that door locked may not make a difference because you're right, it could be an employee, but it might not be. It could be a parent. It could be someone that's just out in the community. And if that person has a weapon and they are armed and they just walk right through doors versus there is a locked, every door is locked, it does buy seconds, and seconds saves lives.
I go to the fruit section.
Or you go to the restaurant. What do? You go.
I carry concealed, but I.
You hope and pray
Yeah.
that there's not a lunatic out there because people are getting killed at the movies.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
getting killed at the movie theater.
Right.
I mean, you cannot protect your children or yourself from every crazy person out there.
No, but I can do a lot better out in public because I can also carry concealed, and there's a lot of other things that you can do.
But you know what
Our
my
elementary
parents tell
students.
me? When I spoke to my parents, and I was a parent, they do not want to have to buzz a buzzer every time they go to the school because the question is, what is Judson trying to hide that
Absolutely
we
not.
want to know before they come in the building?
Right, and
Why
I- yeah.
can't they come in the building and they go to the desk like they're doing, they sign in and go see their kids?
Well, June,
Why
what?
do they
No.
have to stand up there? Then you're
Right.
going to go back to who's the person sitting there buzzing them?
Right.
Who are we going to have sitting there watching the little window and the buzzer to constantly do it?
It's
Now,
not-
there's more money involved than just buying a camera and a buzzer.
It's not like that. And the fact that you would think that, you know, parents as a whole, that more parents or a majority of parents would not want to wait and get buzzed in because I don't want to, you're just assuming the school has something to hide. As a parent, I am very happy to wait out there to get buzzed in because so is everybody else in this room. Everyone else in this room will wait to get buzzed in. And if you have a weapon and you're not waiting to get buzzed in, you're trying to find a way in, it still buys time, and time saves lives. And for $9,000,
Since Columbine, what have we learned? How many more school shootings have we had?
many.
We spent money,
Many.
we've got police departments,
Yeah.
and what? School killings are on the rise.
They are.
Because the economy's down, people are mad, they have no hope, and a little window and a buzzer isn't gonna make the difference.
It might not make the difference in an attack, absolutely not. But if it can buy seconds, seconds save lives. And this is such a small dollar amount when you're talking about lives. And it is different, and you're right. There are security issues and concerns with middle school and high school, but they also have less, much more so in a lot of ways, but in another way, they also have more of a voice to advocate for themselves, where elementary does not. And when you see things that are out of place, elementary students are not speaking up for themselves, whereas high school and middle school, they're a little bit more in tune with the way of the world. Elementary students are not. And I think it's something that we need to address. But that was my biggest concern when you say what kind of message are we sending. To parents, we're sending a message that we are limiting access to people that shouldn't be there. It doesn't mean you can stop everything, but I still think that this is a step in the right direction. It's not an answer. It's not a solve-all. Don't expect that it would be.
Mr. Flores.
Thank you. I just want to say this is something that should be put on the budget. We're going to be doing that next month, and we'll have Mr. Kirshner here and have that presented to us in the budget. That's the way I'm going to vote on this thing. I don't know if it's going to pass, but hey, I'll make a motion to table this till the budget.
Second.
No.
Okay, we have a motion to table this item. I think everybody has had a chance to speak except myself. But you know how I feel about my students. We're all voting already. We're voting to table the motion. Mr. Liston. Richard, no. Beth, no. 5 yeses.
I didn't think I was voting in this.
Well, before we continue, can you give us an update? Give us an update on this first.
Sir, I just passed one around just a few minutes ago.
Okay, moving on. Consider and take possible action regarding creating a comprehensive facilities condition assessment and space utilization study. Mr. Macias.
Hey, this is real quick.
We need a motion.
Oh, motion.
Motion second by Mr. La Jolla.
All this is, I'll bring it to the board for us to take a look at our space within our schools. We're trying to be as efficient as possible, and we're having some issues with overcrowding, especially at elementary schools. And I thought it might be a smart idea to take a look at how we can ensure that we're utilizing our space in the best manner possible. So that's all that motion's about.
Okay. Go ahead, sir. Okay, anything else? Go ahead.
Yeah, if we do it annually, all right, I'm fine with that. I can pull this. That's really what I want. And is it comprehensive, though? It's for all our facilities in the district? Okay, great. And who conducts it, just out of curiosity?
Victor Valdez and Mr.
So our staff?
The staff there, we have a
Okay.
staff that they do all that. And Mr. Kirsten, this is the other.
F, consider to take possible action regarding approval to initiate the creation of a district-wide parent engagement concert. Mr. Macia.
And again, this may not require a motion. May I just speak on the item? Just,
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All I would like to do is ask the board to support the concept that we put a parental agreement or contract with parents together. We work with the superintendent's office to kind of start penciling in some deliverables. And the only way we can really ascertain that is if we have our parents engaged in what they would envision us as board members or as a district to do. And so things like when we say a lot, we want increased parental engagement. So what that means to us is we want to support those efforts that are going to increase that engagement. So there's actually a sample of a contract that I picked up at a National Association School Board conference that I'll make sure to share with the board and the superintendent. But it really just, it's a contract, or I guess an agreement, if you will, that's just stipulating we will work with our parent PTAs, PTOs, to ensure that we're working on the same battle plan to increase that engagement across the district.
Ms. Hager.
And would you provide that to the superintendent and the staff person we hired this year for parental involvement can work with that?
I think that's a good idea, Dr. Mackey. Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and forward that.
Thank you. G, consider to take possible action regarding approval to create a board oversight subcommittee to review 2013 bond expenditures. Mr. Macia. Motion. Motion by Mr. Macia. Second by Ms. Hager. Mr. Macia.
And again, this is another simple outcome of being voted down consecutively on having an internal audit for the bond. So at the end of the day, the board is responsible for its oversight, and I would just like to have a board subcommittee created to do that review and work in conjunction with the already functioning mayor's oversight committee and with staff and whomever is involved in the management and oversight of our bond. At the end of the day, we are responsible. I'd like to at least tell the community we have a subcommittee that's taking a look at these issues and addressing those questions.
I thought we had that.
We don't have
committee.
we don't have a board led committee.
He's talking about a board head.
I am. Yeah.
Mr. Simmons.
I thought the reason we had a subcommittee from outside mayors was because it was outside to kind of oversee what we were doing. I thought that was a good idea. I mean, I don't know why we need to duplicate the process,
It could be a liaison.
liaison, but I don't think we need to form another committee. I mean, that's why we chose the mayors to do that, to be the bond oversight committee with people, to have an outside look at what's going on. And that's the purpose of the committee. I don't think we need our board subcommittee is Mr. Kirshner and Dr. Mackey, and reports we get every month about where it's at. Jose, I ask him, what's our payment plan? What are we holding back? We have that oversight just by the numbers. I don't think we need a board subcommittee.
Well, and I'll have to disagree. At the end of the day, our employees are not accountable to the community. We are. And at the end of the day, the mayors are not accountable for our actions on this district. We are. So as a result, we should probably be leading that. And at this point, I can't say that we're doing that. So that function would just really support and go hand in hand with what's already happening. I'm hoping that we can form this. I'd ask Mr. Salinas to form the ad hoc committee. I welcome 2 other board members to volunteer with me on it. And the reason why it needs to be a subcommittee is so that we can meet and discuss and get things moving.
Why couldn't it be a liaison to that from the board to that existing committee?
I would imagine my vision would be that the subcommittee would do that naturally, but that we would have that subcommittee structured. And the other added value for it is
Liaison, you mean
to the mayor's council.
2 people from the board to go meet with these people and have the meetings like we do with the long-range planning, curriculum, and planning.
I would envision that being part of it, but not solely the only thing that we do. And I'll tell you why. Documentation. Right now, there's not, I've asked for minutes from these mayors' meetings that they don't exist. They're doing something. I sure don't know what they're asking. So at the end of the day, the board is, again, accountable. And so as a board member on this district, I think it's important that we do that.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
If you look on page 20 of your board book, every month we give you a breakdown of all of the expenditures and all accounted for the bond. Y'all asked for that?
Yeah.
No, and I appreciate that. And that's what I mean. There are elements that are already working. It's just that the board isn't leading any sort of its own independent oversight as well.
Ms. Ayer? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Ms. Ayer?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions, and I guess more specifically, kind of what Gilbert's asking, what would the committee do? What do you envision? You said, one of the things you said they would do, what Gilbert said, be a liaison. Or what would this committee do?
The first thing that the committee would do is it actually would be able to talk about the whole bond and report to the board. There would be a documentation or a trail of what this subcommittee has reviewed. And then, of course, we could actually ask additional questions. One of the things that I've kind of was interested to find out was that our architecture, SHW, hasn't been queried by this mayor's council. I'm certain there's other elements that haven't been talked with or asked about how the process is going, which means there's loose components to the whole thing. And we need to bring it all together and validate everything. I mean, that's really our job, oversight. And so, again, I think this would be very helpful for the bond and also restore a lot of faith in the community that we are looking and overturning every rock just to make sure it's operating correctly.
Would you, do you think that, say 2 board members, I mean, obviously we still have to vote Gilbert to add 2 board members to that committee, but do you think 2 board members attending that meeting would assist? Or I guess the only thing, Dr. Mackey, your committee isn't, your oversight committee, they're not making any minutes or recording who's there or what they talk about or discuss?
They get all the documentation that we give you all each month. They get an update, they review the update, and then they ask questions. And then when they ask questions, they ask us for additional information for the next meeting. We bring it to the next meeting, or they'll call Daniel anytime we can ask them, Mr. Kirshner, what's going on, we give them that information, and that's it. The main thing they look at is the funding. You know, it's a good proposal. They look at to make sure that we're on budget, make sure we're on time, and basically they're fine with that.
Yes.
And if they have any additional questions, they call us, and they call us and they ask for additional information. But once we give it to them, they're fine once we give them information.
I would say that, that would be the major piece that I think is missing is there's no record, Gilbert, of them meeting or what they're receiving and reviewing. So if we had to go back, make sure that they have some,
Help the rest of them a little bit as well. See, the liaison says, this is what we'd like to see as a board from you. Right now, there's nobody telling them that. So,
I agree that they've never come over here to make a report. I don't know whether they're taking roll call or sign in or no minutes. I think maybe when you start with the liaison, 2 people serving, the only problem I have, why does it have to be at 7 o'clock in the morning? Maybe
yeah.
they need to change that.
I agree.
In the evening, maybe 1 month morning, 1 month evening, or whatever.
Didn't the mayor decide that time, Dr. Mackey? I think the time should stay the same if they set the time, because that's obviously when they can
favorite, man, my pop.
Denny's is my favorite, but I'll go on.
I've actually attempted to attend 2 of those meetings, and they were canceled. And so I just don't know. There's just no record of anything. I do think it's incumbent that the board take leadership on this, and I'm willing to do that. So we can serve as a liaison in addition to having a subcommittee, so that both components are occurring. Monthly?
Where we are, where they're standing, where we're going, what they have experienced, what they've been looking at.
So, Mr. Salinas?
Yes, ma'am.
President, can, Mr. Flores, can you, make, an amendment to make this motion, as a liaison, to the oversight committee with no more than 3 people? Well, we have 3.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was his idea, I don't think his idea.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter who makes it. I don't want to step on Mr. Macias' toes here on this. I know what he's trying to do, but don't you agree that if we start this way with a liaison, 1 or 2 people, and then,
I'm agreeable. I'm agreeable.
the mayor may not, hey, wait a minute, what are you doing here? We'll say, wait, this is what we're doing here.
Exactly.
And then if we want to bring in some other financial people from the community, it has to be open to them. I mean, right now, they were initially put in there to help us sell this mall. And the way I envision it, what they're looking at maybe is, okay, we did our part, now we're just going to see what's being spent and everything. But I don't know if they're doing the due diligence on what's being spent. And that's where liaisons would come in and say, this is what we're looking for as a board. We appreciate everything you're doing and what you've done, but this is what we're looking for. Is that right, Dr. Mann? Did you say that?
You have the chairman and the treasurer on that committee, and you have Sonny's on that committee. You have some other volunteer people that are there.
But we just don't have a liaison.
Yeah, I'm just saying you don't have that. I'm just saying.
I think Gilbert and I should do it or rotate it.
I heard,
Now, Mr. I'm the one that made the request. I would like to be the liaison to this, and Mr. Flores could join me and Mr. Sellier, but, I mean, this is, yeah.
I move to amend the motion. I move to amend the motion to read, approval to create a board oversight liaison to, meet with the already standing bond oversight committee. And, the president appoints, yes. Second. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Richard,
We have an
second.
amendment, voting on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Amendment passed, and I will make, we're voting on the motion. Yeah, we have to vote on the motion, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. I will appoint Mr. Macias as the main liaison, and then, like you said, there could be 2 or 3 people that could join him. Ms. Xavier, you said you might want to do that once a month. Mr. Sellier said, yeah, as long as I'm not 4.
Exactly.
If I happen to go, if I want to go have coffee, I have to step out there then. Would you make sure of that, Mr. Latham? Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you. Sir, we never got your answer. What's the score?
85-65.
What?
85-65.
How much time?
9 minutes.
Woo! Okay, let's go to item I. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of fast tracking hiring of teachers. Motion by Mr. Sellier. Second by Mr. LaFoille. Dr. Mackey.
This is something that we do every year, and we'd like the board to support us on that again this year.
Just tell us the time frame.
Till now to September.
End of through the next board meeting in September, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. We have finished that. Let's go to discussion items. Superintendent.
Mrs. Lane, I just want to make sure. When we came back from closed session, did you do H and J? I don't remember that.
All the personnel, we did all the personnel. Yeah, we did the kind of, yeah.
Yeah, but did we read H and J, Jackie?
No.
We need to do the one we didn't do. Which one did we do?
We did J.
No, we did H, so we need to do J.
Oh, yeah. Consider take possible action regarding approval of the personnel report and updates, including new hire, resignation, administrative appointment. Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Ms. Ager. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Thank you. Student support, superintendent report.
Okay, Mr. Salinas and I visit Copperfield today. Right now, they're on time and on budget, and all the things they're doing, so it looks great. Kirby looks great. We'll be ready to open up with the new library, special ed rooms, and science labs in Kirby, so everything it's looking good right there.
Looking great.
As far as the high school, I haven't been out there yet on Evans Road to see what's going on, but by the next board meeting, we'll give you an update.
Dr. Mackey, number 3.
I gave y'all the 5th and 8th grade scores. 5th and 8th grade scores.
Preliminary, right?
Preliminary, if you look, preliminary, no. These are our 5th and 8th grade first administration.
Oh.
And if you look on that, you'll see the state, and you see the district in 5th grade math. You see we went up 1 point from 76 to 77. Then you'll see if you go down to the bottom, for the STAR exam for 8th grade in math, you can see that we made a 9% gain. As the district went from 70 to 77, and we tied with the state average right there. In the reading portion, if you will look, the state went down 1 point, and we went from 75 to 76, so we went up right there. That's 5th grade reading. And if you go to STAR reading 8th grade, as the district, we went from 79 to 83, went up 4%, which the state went down 2%. So we're at 83 and the state is 82. And if you look at our middle schools where we implemented our reading literacy programs and all the things, you see that major progress is done in the middle school. And then you see at the high school, if you go at the very top, not high school, but the elementary, you can see that we're making some gains there too. So this is something that you all have that we're doing within the district. Are there any questions?
Dr. Mackey, I'd just like to note, as you're going through that, it really stands out that Michelle had a 12% increase that stands out above the rest. And then, Mr. Young, if you could move it to we have the 13% up there at Olympia.
Yes. Olympia went up 13% in reading, and Purcell went up 12% in 5th grade reading.
Yeah, and then going down below, we have 11% increase at Judson Middle,
Yes.
8th grade math, and 12% at Metzger.
That's correct.
I can see the 8th grade on the other side reading.
No, yeah. And- Yeah, they went up 16 in math. They sure did. Yeah, they tied with they tied with the district average. Yeah, and if you look at all down at middle schools, you can see every middle school went up.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we won't highlight, but we can also see the minus.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
But that's the first round.
That's correct.
Okay. We'll get another second round. The second round is the final.
We just finished it, and they average first and second to get our.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's good that we're out here. We can maybe average out. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Same thing with secondary, Mr. Wright. Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Mackey. Okay, I'm gonna be reading you, these are, Ms. Perez, correct me if I'm wrong, these are all first reading, and they have been updated, posted on the website, is that correct? Okay.
Did you, before you start reading, did you give us the little yellow, in our back, the little yellow one that has the blue highlight stuff? So that's just the same one, these are the same ones?
We have it on the board book 95.
Yeah, no, but the Tasby highlight yellow sheet is basically here. Mr. President, while you're ready to read that, I would like to point out, though, we have a problem with our policy updates.
Such as?
Such as, I believe the problem lies with our policy, people. I think it's Mr. Williams who's the one who's doing it. Because when, I was working on the purchasing and acquisition of policy that's posted is 2010, and that's what the attorneys reviewed. And then when I came though, we had a 2014 policy that's not posted.
Right, and I spoke with the on those, so I have a note to myself, I have that on the principles, but I have other individuals that are asking about what the policies are. On the website, when we post certain media outlet, to post another link that says policies recently updated, in case they aren't reflected on policy.
That'll be good.
We still have a post on the 28th of June, there's a board members who go, and you can see what is recently been updated.
Yeah, 'cause the attorneys were like, you know, that's not the policy that y'all have now. And then when I got here, he said, no, we changed it in March or something, and it still reflects 2010. So, we just need, you know,
He does have,
we paid to do
he
that.
has one of the districts,
We paid.
and so,
Okay, can I read it? Read, thank you. Policy update 99, affecting local policies, first reading. Number 1, BED local board internal organization attorney. Question. Yes, sir.
Page 179,
Yes, sir.
paragraph 2. Now, let me read that.
Yes, sir.
In accordance with written contract, individual board members shall channel legal inquiry to superintendent, board president, and board secretary as appropriate.
And that's what you do?
When I want to call legal for Anderson, I call it Anderson.
Yeah, it's on the, what do you call it, operating procedure, because nobody calls up back here. We're not gonna tell you no.
No, this is a different policy. I agree with you, Steve.
Right, this is a different policy.
They changed it.
Right, Jim?
That's right.
This is very different. This says that
179.
that's not what our interim one, this is what this.
The other one is our operating procedure. This is,
Board internal organizational attorney. Okay? Board internal organizational attorney. This is very different from what we practice. This says we don't. I have the right to call legal anywhere I want to. This says I don't. I don't have to. This says I It's 11 o'clock at night, okay? I don't believe it. It doesn't say that, right, Jim?
That's right. You're absolutely correct.
So what is it? It says that you have to call Dr. Mackey or me.
If Richard, I, Bill, or anybody that's you, it said we can't pick up the phone and call you.
I only said I work on that before we come back to the second reading. I'm with you.
That's a bad policy.
I'm with you. Yeah, we can local?
that's local.
Yeah, that's, I'm with you.
Well, you can say, hey, I'm gonna call you now, but this is saying this is bad policy.
Why?
What if I wanna talk about the president and the superintendent?
Well, we don't do it.
But tell them you're just gonna come.
Well, you just call the superintendent, tell him I'm talking about you, or you talking about me.
Okay,
is a maybe. Sir, we could be some little water. We go yearly.
Yeah, but this says.
That's not what you're talking about. You gotta read these.
I do, sir.
I recommend that the board read the changes to the local policy and keep in mind it is our policy. This is a TASB recommendation. You don't have to do what they said. You just do what you want to do.
First reading it, which means on the second reading, we adopt it.
That's right. You gotta read it and make a recommendation.
Always better will get legal. CK Local, Safety Program Risk Management. 4, DIA, Local. Employee Welfare, Freedom from Discrimination, Harassment, and Retaliation. 5, EHDC, Local. Alternative methods for earning credit. Credit by examination without prior instruction. And if there's any changes, Mr. Gonzalez, you let us know. FB, local, equal educational opportunity. 7, FFA, local student welfare, freedom from discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. Okay, let's go to, we're gonna pull item D and E until the next either discussion on the 29th.
What about C?
We did stand.
We did it already.
Hello?
Oh, that was part of that? Okay.
Oh, here we go, board. Consider moving the date for the regular June board meeting. Let me tell you the problem. SLI is on the 18th, 19th, 20th, right, Jackie? Okay, 19th, which is Thursday. But Wednesday evening is the one for the, and I got it right here. It's called the Fiscal Fitness Camp. I don't know whether you saw it or not, and it's a 3.5 hours. It's about budget meetings. This is great. I even asked Dr. Redondo to give me some Redondo if he could go ahead and we just promoted it. I would like for him to attend now. It starts at 5:30. So do we need to move that meeting to that Tuesday?
Why can't we have a meeting on Thursday? I mean, that session's ended at 5:30 on Thursday.
I don't have a problem. Some board members like to go to the after awards.
Yeah, but not, we only have 3 board members that go to SLI here.
She's going, Mr. LaFoyle.
I'm going to Fort Worth.
I'm not going.
I'm going to Fort Worth.
You're going. Okay. Oh, you're going to the one in Fort Worth. Okay, that's good. Jackie, would you make a note of that? We will have it at 7 o'clock on Thursday. That-
I'm out.
Time out.
We got to talk about Richard. Richard has a problem with those dates
Yeah,
because he's going to be out of town.
I'll be up in the.
He'll be back by the 19th.
No, I won't. I won't be back till the 25th.
But you just told me outside. I asked you one ago.
No, I'll be gone the 19th. You don't listen.
Time for y'all to go home.
Okay.
Okay, so,
I'll be back in town on the 25th. I get back about 1 o'clock. We can have it that evening, the 25th.
no, we got a board meeting on the 29th.
No, that's May.
Hold it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, ma'am. We have, what?
Who's going to Fort Worth?
guidance on the process. So it's somewhat technical. I know Mr. LaFoy we'd have to post where he's going to be, and it'd have to be in a public place so that other people could be wherever he is and things like that. But there is an allowance to do something like
Do
that.
a conference call or is it Skype?
The advice I saw was all about videoing in. I'm not sure on conference call. We could check on that.
I'll call Eagle tomorrow and ask about it. I think we can do a conference.
We can do that.
Can we connect the phone here, man?
Yes.
Sir?
Yes, we can do a phone. We can connect it. I don't know about the legality.
We'll leave it in the 90s in hopes that we can do a conference call. But it has to be in the homes. We can't be at a clock over there in Wisconsin.
How about in the middle of that weekend?
You can't drink the whole time you're up there.
Okay, now, before I forget, and I was told by Ms. Perez, I need to remind all of you, you received in your packet today the parking for the graduation tomorrow, JACA graduation at the college, and you have a map, right? Oh, and a ticket to get in, okay? Make sure, don't lose that. Advisory committees, any advisories? Yes, Mr. Flores.
The long range and curriculum committee met. Mr. Stewart gave a presentation as to how they're trying to help develop teachers. Mr. King was there, and he gave a great presentation as to what they're trying to do at Woodlake Hills Instructional. We didn't really go much into long-range planning, but this was their plan for educational structure. Yeah, and it's something that will be presented to the whole district. And we'll get. I'll have them come make that next time, or we're not going to meet again until August. So that's what we're on.
Anybody else? Oh, yes, sir.
Monday night, yes, sir. 5 people there, bunch of people wanted to work an update on the school, what we're doing, they expressed concern about, long range repairs that we talked about, roofing, things like that, and kind of explain why we're behind.
Okay, update on training conferences. Again, we have the SLI. We had the Spirit of Judson yesterday. Ms. Williams, Mrs. Macias, Dr. McNamee, and myself attended, and Nancy was in charge of the program. They did a wonderful job. So hopefully next time we see more of us. Oh, by the way, I believe they're going to try and change it because it's grown. And I don't know what facility they're talking about. The small factories or something like that. And you'll take care of that. Okay, thank you. Okay, events, future agenda items, request by board members. Again, we're going to have a board tracking budget on the 29th. Anybody wants to put items for discussion, you can do it here.
On the 22nd, we have the retirement dinner.
At the holiday.
The holiday.
Okay.
17 Second Club, Spurs 104, Laser